needs to change.
The way the guys are at the shop, they basically made that thing, and it looks just like the back one. You could never tell the difference.
Also make money on stuff like this.
Many people believed Rick Dale and his crew would keep restoring forgotten American treasures for many more years. For 6 seasons, fans watched old gas pumps, soda machines, and classic motorcycles come back to life on American Restoration. Millions tuned in every week to see the incredible transformations. But then, everything suddenly changed. Rick, his family, and the entire team disappeared from the show without warning. So, what really happened behind the scenes that made everything fall apart? Was there an internal rift? Rick Dale's incredible journey. Before American Restoration became one of the biggest reality shows on television, Rick Dale was simply a talented craftsman running a small restoration shop in Las Vegas. His path to television fame started surprisingly through another huge Pawn Stars hit. In 2009, Pawn Stars first aired and sparked a new American obsession with vintage collectibles and antiques. The show followed Rick Harrison and his family as they ran their pawn shop in Las Vegas. Whenever they needed help identifying or restoring old items, they often called Rick Dale. Rick made his first appearance in an episode called Time Machines, and viewers immediately became interested. People did not only want to see the old objects anymore, they wanted to watch them being restored step by step. Executives at the History Channel quickly realized they had found something special. Rick Dale had an uncommon talent for turning damaged, forgotten antiques into beautiful museum-quality pieces. More importantly, he felt real and genuine, something reality television desperately needed. Rick was not someone chasing fame or trying to become a TV star. He was a real craftsman who had been restoring things since he was 9 years old. His passion began when his father pulled an old bicycle out of a neighborhood dumpster and challenged young Rick to repair it. American Restoration premiered on October 25, 2010, and quickly became a major hit. The show followed everyday life inside Rick's restoration business. It featured Rick, his wife Kelly Dale, who managed the business side of the shop, his son Tyler Dale, and his brother Ron Dale, who searched for collectible items. Crew members like Brettley Otterman, Rick's stepson, and Cowboy, the shop's metal polishing expert, also became fan favorites. Rick often joked that Cowboy was the grumpiest person he had ever worked with. What made the show stand out was not only the restorations, but also the strong family atmosphere. Rick's relationship with Tyler became one of the show's biggest storylines, as Rick hoped his son would eventually take over the family business. The conversations and jokes between the workers felt natural and real. The problems they faced while restoring old machines and antiques also seemed authentic to viewers. At the height of its popularity, the show attracted around 2.9 million viewers every week and aired in more than 87 countries around the world. Famous clients soon began bringing their treasured items to Rick's shop. These included Billy Joel, Sammy Hagar, Jason Mraz, illusionists Lance Burton, and David Copperfield, as well as NASCAR driver Greg Biffle. One episode, titled Pick, Pawn, and Polish, reached 6.5 million viewers, making it the highest-rated program in History Channel history at that time. Rick Dale had officially become a household name and one of the most recognizable faces in the world of vintage restoration. The series showed an incredible range of projects. In one episode, viewers might watch the team restore a 1946 Harley-Davidson, while another episode could feature an old Coca-Cola vending machine, antique gas pumps, jukeboxes, barber chairs, or even a NASA helmet. According to Rick, the shop usually handled between 6 and 12 projects at the same time. The crew constantly balanced customer deadlines, searched for rare replacement parts, and dealt with the difficult technical work required to bring 70-year-old machines back to life. The History Channel had built an entire connected world focused on vintage American culture, and Rick Dale was right at the center of it. But as the show became more successful, new problems started to appear. What happened? Could there be some hidden deception? Let's find out. Reality TV deception. People familiar with the television industry later explained how reality TV really worked behind the scenes. The show was produced by Left Field Pictures, the same company behind the TV show Pawn Stars, and they used the same formula of creating fake drama. Conversations with customers were scripted, and timelines were changed to make restoration jobs seem more difficult or urgent than they really were. Fans began noticing strange details. Customers were often filmed twice, once while talking about the item, and again when the finished product was revealed, making it obvious that producers were heavily controlling scenes. As the seasons went on, the fake drama became even bigger. Early episodes focused mainly on the real restoration process, showing the careful work Rick and his team did to bring old objects back to life. Later, producers pushed for more family arguments, personal conflicts, and staged situations. Many viewers complained that the show was showing less restoration work and more fake fighting. One shocking example was when Rick's brother, Ron, appeared on Pawn Stars selling a Coca-Cola machine and pretending not to know Rick personally. He acted like a stranger, convincing the Pawn Stars crew to get the machine restored. But fans already knew Ron worked at Rick's restoration shop. The entire scene was fake and designed to promote both shows, destroying much of the show's remaining credibility. Another example involved the restoration of a golf ball slot machine. The original machine brought in by the customer was too damaged to repair properly. Instead, Rick found and bought another identical machine from a company called LA Slots in California. The replacement machine was transported to Las Vegas and used instead of the broken original. However, the show presented it as if the original machine had been restored, misleading viewers about what really happened. People connected to the production later revealed how much control the producers had. Rick was no longer allowed to simply restore items for his normal customers. Producers chose the people who would appear on the show and even handled the prices for the restoration jobs. The show itself paid for the projects, meaning Rick was not actually being paid by real customers for the work viewers saw on television. In exchange, Rick and his crew earned more money per episode than they would have made without the TV show. But nearly every decision was controlled by producers. Rick had slowly become more like an actor following instructions than a businessman running his own shop. The biggest problem was the unrealistic deadlines. Episodes constantly showed the crew racing against time to finish restorations in impossibly short periods. Professional restorers pointed out that restoring complicated antique items properly takes time and cannot be rushed, without lowering the quality. But producers wanted the pressure and countdowns because they believed it made the show more exciting. By this point, the series had changed from a show about craftsmanship into a show focused on fake personal conflicts. During seasons 5 and 6, complaints from viewers flooded online forums. Many fans said they no longer cared about personal drama, weddings, or arguments because they had originally started watching for the restoration work. Professional restorers were even harsher in their criticism. One electronics repair expert complained that the show ruined many beautiful antique items by removing original paint, replacing parts unnecessarily, using incorrect colors and fonts, and ignoring historical accuracy. According to critics, the restorations often looked flashy rather than authentic. Rick Dale eventually found himself stuck in a difficult situation. After spending more than 30 years building a respected restoration business and developing real skill, he was now being told how to run his own shop by television producers who cared more about ratings than quality craftsmanship. Eventually, everything reached a breaking point when Rick Dale made a decision that changed everything. So, what did Rick do? Did he walk away? Let's find out. Rick Dale's exit. After 6 seasons filled with growing producer control, forced arguments, and fake television drama, Rick Dale finally reached his breaking point. What had once started as a genuine show about restoring forgotten pieces of American history had slowly changed into something completely different. Instead of focusing on craftsmanship, creativity, and hard work, the series was becoming more like a loud reality soap opera built around scripted tension and manufactured conflict. By the time the American restoration team approached Rick about returning for Season 7, he had already made up his mind. He refused to sign a new contract. In one shocking decision, he walked away from fame, security, and an enormous paycheck. Most people in television would never leave that kind of success behind, but Rick did. And the moment he stepped away, the entire foundation of the show began to collapse. People close to the production later revealed what pushed him to make such a drastic choice. Rick no longer felt like himself. He felt like he was being treated as an actor, reading lines, instead of a real craftsman doing honest work. The constant staged drama wore him down emotionally. Every disagreement had to be exaggerated. Every situation had to be turned into a spectacle. The peaceful, creative environment of his restoration shop had been transformed into what Rick reportedly described as a sugary, overproduced sitcom. More than anything, he wanted his business back. He wanted to work with real customers again, not people selected by producers because they would create good television moments. He wanted to spend his time restoring meaningful items instead of performing for cameras. The passion that once made the show special was slowly disappearing, replaced by ratings-driven entertainment. Then came the emotional moment that stunned fans. Rick uploaded a heartfelt video online thanking viewers for standing by him throughout the years. In the video, he encouraged fans to share their disappointment directly on the show's website. But what truly caught people's attention was Rick himself. He looked exhausted, emotional, and deeply hurt. At several moments, it seemed as though he was struggling to hold back tears. Viewers saw a man who genuinely loved his craft, loved his fans, and loved restoring history, but who simply could not continue working under the network's conditions anymore. For many fans, it was painful to watch. The response from the History Channel was immediate and ruthless. There were no serious public negotiations, no visible attempts to fix the problems Rick had raised. Instead, the network chose to move on without him entirely. Rather than saving the original spirit of the show, they decided to completely reinvent it for Season 7 with a totally different format. But Rick was not the only casualty. His entire crew, many of whom had become beloved fan favorites over the years, were suddenly gone as well. The chemistry between Rick, his family, and his workers had been one of the biggest reasons audiences connected with the series in the first place. Without them, the heart of the show disappeared overnight. Soon, rumors exploded across the internet. Some people claimed Rick had become difficult to work with behind the scenes. Others blamed falling ratings and said the network had no choice but to make changes. There were even stories suggesting Rick struggled with customers, although no real evidence ever surfaced to support those accusations. In reality, the truth was far less complicated and far more damaging. This was ultimately a battle between two completely different visions. On one side stood a craftsman who wanted authenticity, honesty, and pride in his work. On the other, stood a television network increasingly focused on drama, spectacle, and entertainment value above everything else. What makes Rick's decision even more remarkable is the amount of money he sacrificed by walking away. Successful reality television stars can earn anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000 for a single episode. With 26 episodes in a season, Rick may have been turning down well over $1 million every year. That kind of money can change lives forever. Yet Rick still chose to leave because, to him, protecting his integrity mattered more than protecting his income. That choice earned him enormous respect from fans. The long 2-year gap between Season 6 and Season 7 also revealed another important detail. The network clearly struggled to figure out what to do next. The show had been built almost entirely around one man, one workshop, one family, and one unique talent. Rick Dale was not just another cast member. He was the identity of the series. Without him, the show suddenly had no center. And that created a problem nobody at the network knew how to solve. So they attempted something drastic. Instead of preserving what audiences loved, they tore the formula apart and rebuilt the series from scratch. It was a bold gamble, but also a deeply risky one. Fans who had fallen in love with the warmth, humor, and authenticity of Rick's shop were now being asked to watch something completely different. The result would become one of the most controversial transformations in reality television history. How could the show possibly continue when the very man who made it successful refused to be part of it anymore? Did the network choose a solution that was both extreme and destructive? Let's take a closer look. The reboot that killed American Restoration. On January 1, 2016, American Restoration returned for its 7th season, but the show had changed completely. Instead of following one restoration shop, one family, and one connected story, the History Channel decided to take the series in a totally different direction. The new version focused on 5 different restoration businesses from around the country. The season introduced viewers to Buddy Stroud, Dale Wachsler, Andy Bowman Jr., Steve Hale, and Bob Halliday, all owners of separate restoration shops with their own crews and styles. Fans were stunned, confused, and upset. For 6 years, people had followed and connected with Rick Dale and his team, and suddenly, the entire heart of the show was gone. One of the biggest complaints was the new focus on vehicles. Many fans felt frustrated because the History Channel already had another successful car restoration show, Counting Cars. What made Rick Dale's version special was the huge variety of items being restored. One week, it could be an old soda machine, the next a slot machine, a gas pump, a motorcycle, or some strange piece of American history. That variety disappeared in Season 7. Now the show mostly featured cars, trucks, and motorcycles. To many viewers, it started feeling repetitive and no different from the many other vehicle restoration shows already airing on cable television. But the biggest problem was the missing chemistry between the people on screen. Over 6 seasons, Rick Dale and his family had created something that felt real and personal. Fans felt connected to Tyler, Ron, Cowboy, and Brettley. Viewers watched Tyler grow up throughout the series. They enjoyed Ron's relaxed personality and Cowboy's grumpy but detail-focused attitude. Another major issue was the constant jumping between 5 different locations. Just when viewers were beginning to understand one shop and its workers, the episode would suddenly switch to another garage with completely different people and different projects. The storytelling felt messy and disconnected. The reboot also lost the educational side that originally made the series interesting. The ratings soon revealed the truth that the network did not want to accept. Without Rick Dale and his family, American Restoration had become just another restoration program in an already crowded market. The magic that once attracted 6.5 million viewers had disappeared. The History Channel tried hard to save the series. The production quality remained high, and the show still featured interesting guests and projects. Music legend George Clinton appeared with a 1920s piano restoration project. Illusionist David Copperfield requested restored items for his museum collection. The show even included NASCAR connections involving Kyle Busch and Marcus Smith. The failure of Season 7 became so infamous that even the show's online history reflects it. Seasons 1 through 6 have detailed episode summaries, character descriptions, and extensive information. Season 7 barely receives attention at all, almost as if the television industry wanted everyone to forget the reboot ever existed. Then, on April 1st, 2016, only 3 months after Season 7 premiered, American Restoration was canceled. The network believed it could recreate the show's success while removing the very things that made people love it in the first place. Instead, the changes destroyed the series completely. Was Rick ready to return? Or did start something new? Let's find out. Rick Dale's career shift. Rick Dale started a cut and embroidery shop in Las Vegas called My Best Font Forward Creations, mainly run by his wife, Kelly. The business makes items like Christmas decorations, laser-cut designs, and custom embroidery, which is very different from the restoration work he was known for. Rick also became an author, writing a book called Classic Soda Machines, which has a strong rating of about 4 out of 5 stars on Amazon. These days, he seems to prefer a quieter life. He still gives advice on vintage items and does small-scale metal art, but nothing close to the large restoration projects he once did. His online activity has also slowed down a lot. He used to be active on Twitter and YouTube, but he has not posted there in years. He still uses Instagram sometimes to share small fabrication projects, but it is nothing like the busy restoration content from his TV days. Kelly Dale has built her own path as well, becoming a licensed real estate agent. She also appears at car shows and public events from time to time, using her fame from American Restoration to help her new career. It has been a smart transition into a completely different field. Their son, Tyler Dale, who was once expected to take over the family restoration business, has developed his own skills in woodworking, welding, and metalwork. He married an interior designer named Haley in 2022, and they live in Las Vegas. His social media mostly shows fabrication work, with very little focus on restoration or the old family shop. Brettley Otterman, Rick's stepson, ended up having one of the most successful post-show careers. He focused on sandblasting and soda blasting, and started his own company called Clean Works Mobile Media Blasting. The business now operates several blasting rigs and appears to be doing well. He lives in Las Vegas with his wife, Steph, and their 3 children. And unlike the original shop, his business successfully grew beyond the TV show. Rick's brother, Ron Dale, chose a quiet life building custom bicycles and stays mostly out of the public eye. Cowboy, another well-known member of the crew who worked in metal polishing, also disappeared from public attention after the show ended. So, what do you think about the shocking reason why American Restoration ended? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe.